A belief system that the world of tomorrow, which is going to be constantly faced with change, is going to need learning more than knowing. A world of tomorrow that is constantly faced with change and accelerating change is going to need experiments more than experts. And in a world of tomorrow that is constantly faced with change, the new IP is no more intellectual property, but rather interdisciplinary perspective.
There's a spectrum of art and science as you go from one type of business to the other. And for me, the sweet spot of where I'd like to direct our efforts in data analytics is in the intersection of the two, where it's all about equipping experts that have deep domain knowledge with much better tools.
And my perspective is that as we are seeing this new decision supply chain, where the good that moves in that decision supply chain is moving at very different speeds ever known to man, the laws of business are also changing. But are we even looking for those new laws?
Do you enter things with a mindset of knowing, or do you enter things with a mindset of learning? Are you trying to maximize what you have, or are you trying to explore new areas? Now, it's probably easier and safer to do the left.
So I'm in the game of experiments. And I certainly think that we have a lot to learn. And so I want to create a learning organization.
We all have access to the same information. It's what you do with that information that makes it powerful. And to me, that's the art of what we do. It's the art of what I did as a scientist. I believe it's the art of what I do as a leader. I'm not a technical analyst.
We can either use that learning, passive observer of the world, to say yes or no to a risk, to put a price on that risk. Or we can use that insight to help our customers avoid risk in the first place.
And what we're trying to ask people to do just slightly differently is before you dive in, step back. Just step back and, like you said, look across. What's happening around you? What's the context of the situation? What other problems may be being solved at the same time that have implications and impacts on what you're doing?
The biggest opportunity for our company is to move from a project-based focus for analytics to a problem-based focus for analytics. The difference being that on projects, I'll add value in a very specific way to something you've been doing the same way for the last 10, 15 years. But when I'm problem-focused, I'm able to start addressing the challenges of your core mission. What is the question you've never asked before, that if you asked would change the entire way your company functions and unlocks not 10% improvements, but 10x improvements?
I think what we could do is get a little bit more formal in how we bring those groups together. And so whether that will be a center of excellence or some sort of central hub that brings together a revenue management and a network planning and a marketing, and how do we continue to, one, learn from each other, but two, also as different groups are solving problems that are complex in and of themselves, how do we bring those together even more so that you can connect a customer type of question with a network kind of a problem?
And it's not that one is better than the other, or one is the front office, one is the back office. Success requires a partnership. And I tell people all the time, it's not that you succeeded and you failed. You either both succeed or you both fail, and in fact, I include myself in that. We either succeed or we fail.
New individuals, new leaders provide us with a different way to think about the business. We're always trying to draw from outside industry to determine whether or not we are thinking about our own operations in the most effective way, and that helps inform this process. So to the extent that you have a real commitment around what is the implication of what you measure? And for a team of analytics professionals, I think all of you understand what that means. then this exercise never ends. And the assumption that we got it right, we can check that box, is one you should question all the time.
We have more questions asked of us than we have the bandwidth to answer, which I find ironic because we're not spending enough time asking questions of the questions we're asked. So that we'd be more efficient in answering the questions we have and probably be able to answer more questions because of it.
So our perspective is that questions are more important than answers. How problems are connected is going to become very, very important. And the dynamic shift in how the problems change are going to be something that we have to be thinking about. And all of these things are something that you will find interesting things to think about in the booths that you will see in a little bit.
I think the number one for us is the incredible value of taking machine learning and not thinking about it as machines alone, but as augmented intelligence. How can we take the capabilities of our associates and employees around the world and add the ability of machine learning to make them even more powerful with even better decision making than they're doing today?
I think it's time for a revolution in analytical thinking along the lines of what Dheeraj talked about with regard to learning being more important in the future than knowledge. And so getting to come here and hear about that kind of approach is, I think, going to be something beneficial I can take back.
I wanted to attend so I could get to know the company a bit more, learn about the product offerings, learn about what other capabilities are out there. And I tell you, I get very excited by what I've seen, and excited to continue learning more, and deepening our relationship that way.
So I think I've been to 3. They keep getting better, and we continue to believe that, particularly in kind of our marketing endeavors, that it's a combination of art and science that we need to better connect, and I learned something new at this conference each year, and we have a great relationship with the team at Mu Sigma. I think we've had a 5-year running relationship. They do a great job augmenting our internal analytics team, and they're a great business partner.
We are extremely proud of the customer base that we have and the kind of problems that we get to touch because of all of you guys.